Hi everyone, I'm Michelle Smallman and welcome to this week's edition of Two Guys, Three Questions. Joining me this week is our 101 ESPN Blues insider and update anchor, Tom Casey, and our 101 ESPN Cardinals insider, Brian Stahl. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. Let's get things started. So there's a ton of hype surrounding the Louisville-Kentucky game this weekend. Who do you think is going to escape that matchup? And more importantly, who's going to be cutting the nets down as this year's national champion? Tom, we'll start with you. What do you think?
Well, I think few people would dare to go against Kentucky. Kentucky appears to be the overwhelming favorite, not just to win this national semifinal, but to win the championship and be there on Monday and beat whoever they would meet in the potential final game. However, I think we should not overlook the fact that Rick Pitino got here for a reason. And at 101sports.com, yours truly, I've got to gloat a little bit. I am leading Bracket Madness, specifically because I had Louisville advancing from their region to the Final Four. I did that because I thought they had the best coach. I had Missouri losing in the Elite Eight, but I had Louisville prevailing because of Rick Pitino. And I don't think we should overlook Pitino's potential to maybe make this thing interesting. Kentucky seemingly has beaten people by double-figure margins. That might happen again on Saturday, but I'm not totally sure it will. And if Louisville makes a game of this thing, I won't be shocked, but I do expect the Kentucky Wildcats to prevail and win the whole thing. Thanks,
Tom. Now, Stolly, what do you think?
Well, I think Rick Pitino is one of those coaches, if you give him enough time, he can game plan for anybody. But the problem is he may have the game plan. Execution is going to be another matter. I think Kentucky, not just because they're the only team I still have left in my bracket, which was destroyed, but Kentucky's capable of having the inside or the outside game. I know a couple teams basically said, hey, you know what? If you can make the outside shot, you can beat us. And they actually lost earlier this year. But they've got 3 or 4 guys that are capable on a regular basis of making those shots. They've really just got the athletes, the athleticism, inside and outside. I just don't see Louisville being able to pull the upset against Kentucky.
Thanks, Stolly. All right, guys, second question. After swinging and missing at VCU Shaka Smart and Butler's Brad Stevens, it seems that Illinois has finally landed a new basketball coach in Ohio's John Gross. Do you think he's the right fit, and when will he be able to turn things around in Champaign? Stolly, we'll start with you this time.
Well, he's not a household name right now, but hopefully for the Fighting Illini, he will become that. Obviously, he just coached his team to a hell of an overtime loss in North Carolina in the Sweet 16. Those were his guys, and if you go back and you actually look about him a little bit, besides coaching at Ohio where he's the head coach, he also spent time as an assistant at North Carolina State, at Xavier, and of course, The Ohio State University. So Gross has the resume. He's shown that he can bring in his own guys, and he's been able to take a team like Ohio University to the tournament. Now, if he can translate it into the Big Ten and with Illinois, you'd love to see that happen for, again, their fan base. Is he a household name right now? No, but he's one of those guys with the potential, maybe like a Bill Self, who we knew who he was here in the Midwest, but nationally didn't have the same recognition until he went to Illinois. Could be one of those types of coaches.
All right, thanks, Stolly. TPC, you're an Illini fan. What do you think about the hire?
Well, Steel Town boy from Illinois, proud Grant City native. I don't think this was a good hire. I think this was a great hire. I think they're very fortunate to have gotten somebody with his recent credentials. You see how tough Ohio played last Friday night, played North Carolina. Had a wing and a prayer that it was close at the end of regulation, and then they kind of didn't have much left in overtime. But I think Ohio, and also it shows his commitment to not go back to that team that's supposed to be very, very good next year, that Ohio team. For him to decide to go with Illinois, make this move, I think shows his commitment. You like that if you're Illinois. And I think considering that those who have passed on this job and the named guys that did not make this move, I think they're very, very fortunate to have landed him in Illinois.
Thanks, Tom. Okay, guys, final question. There's finally been some resolution in Los Angeles with Magic Johnson's group acquiring the Dodgers. Do you think Stan Kroenke's failed Dodgers attempt will have any impact on a possible Southern California relocation for the Rams? Stolly, we'll start with you again.
I can tell you the only reaction that I've seen so far is a lot of Rams fans breathing a little bit easier. The reaction that we've been getting in studio, via text lines, phone calls, on Twitter. There are a lot of people who are nervous that if Stan Kroenke became the owner of the Dodgers, that would just be another step closer to the Rams' departure from St. Louis. Whether that's a reality or not remains to be seen. A happy owner, as long as Stan Kroenke is able to work out the lease agreement here in St. Louis, which I believe they have until May 1st, the Rams to send their proposition on what they would like to see changed. I don't see Stan Kroenke going anywhere. Now, obviously, a lot has to be worked out between now and then, but this Dodgers thing was kind of a whole separate issue. Stan Kroenke owns properties all over the world. He's a billionaire. The fact that he was in LA, though, in the Dodgers, I can understand the apprehension, but I don't think it's as dramatic an influence as maybe some people feared.
Thanks, Stolly. TPC, what's your take on this?
I don't think it's going to have much impact. A lot of people, maybe, there was a misconception that, okay, if Kroenke gets the Dodgers, then the other shoe to drop would be to take the Rams out of St. Louis, move them back to Los Angeles. Not saying that wouldn't have happened, but the fact that he didn't get the Dodgers doesn't mean that the Rams can't go back to Los Angeles. I think we all know that that is possible. A lot more in the way of promises are going to have to be made by the city in terms of a facility, whether it's a better Edward Jones Dome or another facility. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to think about that. But we've got to be realistic. What are the Rams going to want when it's time to fish or cut bait? I don't think this affects things at all. Kroenke, if he doesn't like what he has here in St. Louis, when the deal is done, can still move the team to LA if he wants. I don't know that the NFL is hell-bent on having a team in LA because economically they're in pretty good shape right now, making $9 billion per year. They've got a great TV deal, 32 teams. I don't think they want to expand beyond that. So, if other cities, other teams like the Chargers or the Jaguars, if they contemplate a move, they have LA as a potential place to go to. And I don't know that the NFL wants to, take care of that right away, eliminate that from being a potential destination. But again, if Kroenke doesn't like what he has here in the near future, just because he didn't get the Dodgers doesn't mean he can't move the Rams back to LA.
Thanks, TPC, and thanks to you too, Stolly. I really appreciate you guys sitting in. That's all for this week's edition of Two Guys, Three Questions. You can check us out right here next week on 101sports.com.